Black Lives Matter. Was that also?
I'm not saying, Katie, I'm not fighting with him. I don't agree with him. I don't agree. Oh my God, Katie.
Black Lives Matter. Would you repeat that argument? That's
guys, I gotta go. I gotta go. We have guests in the waiting room. We have guests in the waiting room. Bye.
Bye. All right.
All right, guys. No, bring me back on. I want to go back on. So, Katie, bring Katie out. I got to set up the next interview. We don't have enough time. I tried very hard, and I know this is a really tense topic, but I offered the interview. I offered a debate between Josh and Katie. All I wanted to do was present 12 of the points that Josh made. She wanted me to quote him verbatim. I don't have those clips ready because it was a 25-minute interview. And the frustration is I wasn't able to get my first question out. And, it went hostile because I couldn't even ask the question I wanted to ask. I understand this is a tense topic. I actually don't agree with either one of them. I think it's not fair right now to be mimicking the points, especially right before an election, that, I'm sorry, just mimicking anybody's points is, when we were right before an election, there were priorities of issues. Like, we're very conscious about the segments we put on our show. We're very conscious about the topics we bring up. As you saw with foreign policy at the top, then we talked about Brexit Casares, now we're going to talk about evictions. These are issues that have, to me, mean a lot, and especially as we're talking about a future administration. And so I know a lot of you guys are very smart in the audience, and you have watched a lot of shows, and you may have wondered, okay, well, why are some shows presenting this? Maybe it has to do with algorithms, maybe it has to do with clickbait, maybe it has to do with whoever, maybe they're in bed with Republicans, maybe they're in bed with Putin. I don't know. I don't care. But what I wanted to get to the heart of, because Katie's response to Josh's clip on our show was comical, and I didn't feel like I had an answer for, she just, threw it aside like she's not a Russian operative. Obviously, she's not a Russian operative. No one thinks that. I don't think that. I honestly don't. But I also am very curious why she didn't have an actual rebuttal to specific questions about oil and gas, which was fascinating on the show, but I didn't get to those questions. So maybe we can have them both on later. This isn't a joke. The movement is larger than it's ever been. The Bernie Sanders movement, this is a moment I actually want to talk to you guys because this is really important. The movement is larger than it's ever been in U.S. history. We have two generations. The millennial generation is the largest generation in history. It is the most progressive. It is the most anti-establishment. It is the biggest threat to corporate power, arguably since the progressive era. Bernie Sanders represented that threat. Bernie Sanders, that's why we have these nuanced conversations. What happens if Bernie Sanders goes to an administration and is no longer in the Senate and no longer has a campaign fund that helps other candidates win? That's why we have conversations about the algorithm. When the algorithm switches and suddenly leftists can't get their voices out. That's why we have conversations about the revolving door in the Biden administration. What happens when people from Google, what happens when people from Facebook go into the administration? That's why we have these conversations about Central American policy and what's happening in Turkey right now and Armenia. Because what's happening is the geopolitical stage is shifting. Simultaneously, the movement on the left is undeniably, they're trying to repress it. And so when I see fellow leftist hosts consumed by these debates, it hurts the movement. And I think it's important to get into the nuance because, I saw it in the chat, like people were mad I didn't push back against Josh Fox, and I didn't. I just let him roll because I think he sort of...
So this is Nomiki Konst and Katie Halper. So Nomiki Konst and Katie Halper got into it. That was the end of the show. And these are two opposing sides. One is force the vote. The other one is anti-force the vote. Nomiki Konst started making fun of Jimmy Dore, and so therefore started making fun of the movement. Nomiki Konst actually seems like a smart cookie. She seems like a smart cookie. They're also very beautiful. So two beautiful, progressive, intelligent women debating about God knows what. So I'll just, Nomiki Konst is on the side of the haters, right? So the idea is we're going to get Nancy Pelosi to get us Medicare for all, or we're going to kick Nancy Pelosi to the curb, right? Or maybe reparations or ending police brutality or universal basic income, $2,000 per month for every citizen until the pandemic is over or until, the day we die. So the haters, to Force the vote is what it's what it's trending on Twitter. It's what the campaign's around, forcethevote.com or .org. There's a petition, go sign it. The haters of Force the Vote are Nomiki Konst, Francesca Fiorentini, who only leans against it so she could be convinced. Farron Cousins, Voss, Roland Martin. Farron Cousins made a couple comments. Voss came out real strong. Roland Martin was kind of rolling his eyes. Josh Fox is a guy's name that keeps coming up. Josh Fox apparently made some movie about fracking, and that's how he got his 10 minutes of fame, and he's been around ever since. So he's like kind of goofy guy with the glasses and the hat there. You have Josh Fox Film is his Twitter handle, at Josh Fox Film. He's an American film director, playwright, environmental activist, best known for his Oscar-nominated, Emmy-winning 2010 documentary, Gasland. He's one of the most prominent public opponents of hydraulic fracturing and horizontal drilling. On Twitter 33 minutes ago, I don't know who needs to hear this, but people who work till late and sleep late are no worse than the people who wake up at the crack of dawn and punch the clock at 5 p.m. Early risers, quit giving us night owls shade. You're no better, just saying. Hashtag night owls. Okay, so there's Josh Fox, right? There's my introduction to whoever Josh Fox is. Gene Kugar's on the side of haters. Anis Kasparian's a hater. Emma Vigilant, Sam Cedar's a hater. Ben Dixon, David Packman's a hater. Hassan Abi is a hater. Jacobin's a hater. Max Kaiser, Stacey Hebert, Cody Johnston are completely silent on this. And then you have the Humanist Report and David Dole. They got, I guess I have to make brand new columns. I thought it was just going to be pro and con, but apparently we're going to have, so Max Kaiser, Stacey Hebert, and Cody Johnston. I asked them what they thought about Force the Vote on Twitter, and they all ignored me. Stacey Hebert, she only gets like 3 or 5 comments and stuff. Max Kaiser isn't that much bigger. Cody Johnston might have got lost in the, so maybe not, but where the hell are any of these people? I feel like if you're for Force the Vote, you'd say it, right? What, should we pressure Pelosi to get us Medicare for all? Yeah, goddamn yes, we should. Of course we should. If you're just kind of like lukewarm and like, yeah, I guess I'm for Medicare for all. Then it's like, Force the Vote? Oh, shit, I'm not going to get into that. So Sam Cedar, Emma Vigilant, Anna Kasparian, Gene Kugar, David Sirota, Roland Martin, Voss. Let's see. David Sirota had good ideas, but they got into an argument. It's crazy. So Hassan Abi, Jacobin, Max Kaiser, Stacey Hebert, Humanist Report, and David Dole, both of them are in favor of Force the Vote, but they're friends with these people, and so they might actually, they might turn on us. So got to watch out for David Dole and Humanist Report, because they both said Force the Vote is a good idea, but now they might go against it. So overall, even though there's a whole bunch of people I just listed there, that's just a handful of people. The people that's in favor of Force the Vote, everybody. Everybody is in favor of it because it's clearly the right idea. It's a conversation starter. It's the conversation we should have had a month ago. But since, the Fuhrer is trying to fucking steal this, election still, we, got off to a late start. We have the power, so let's flex our power. Why would we just hand our vote to Pelosi? You don't just hand your vote away. You got to demand something. You saw with Kathleen Rice. She demanded something, and she got to be the chair of the, Energy and Commerce Committee instead of AOC. AOC lost, so AOC's tactic of kissing Pelosi's ass is failing. Nomiki versus Katie Halper. Here we go.
Welcome back to the Nomiki Show. We have the host of
the
Katie
Nomiki
Halper
Show.
The
Nomiki Show.
Rolling Stone's Useful Idiots, with Matt Taibbi, the one and only Katie Halper. Katie, thanks for joining us. I need to get to the bottom of this. We last week we had on Josh Fox, our friend, and we were talking about a lot of stuff, as you saw and you covered on your show just a couple days ago. And he mentioned that there's a cabal of leftist hosts that may or may not be, whether they're conscious of it or not, or are directly influenced by Russia, meaning Putin. Let me be very clear, because he was adamant about me saying Putin, not Russia, Putin, are influenced by Putin. So I got so much pushback from this interview. Now, keep in mind, you know this, Katie. I'm very good friends with Josh Fox. I've had a lot of, we will talk for hours at a time, and I think it was a very casual conversation online, and so folks said, I didn't push back. Kind of just let him roll, because sometimes that's the best way, just to kind of get a sense of what someone's perspective is. I was like, I don't think Katie Halper is a Russian operative, but let's talk a little bit about this, because you did touch on the show, and I would love to hear why you're so concerned with this perspective, but I'm going to, give his perspective too, because I think it's important to understand the nuance. I felt like we needed to be a little bit more nuanced. I also think that if you're going to say I'm not echoing Putin's talking points, then you have to explain why. Okay. No, Katie. So Russian media, RT, is funded by Russian government. There's no debate over that.
Yes.
Yeah, I get it. Okay.
Yes, I'm looking at talking points right now.
So it took about a minute. It took about 2 minutes for finally Nomiki Konst to ask a question, and now that Katie Halper has a second, Katie Halper put on her little Russian hat, and she's speaking in her Russian accent. Because apparently this guy, Josh Fox, who Jimmy Dore does not like, and said that he was accused of sexual harassment at some radio station. So Josh Fox, like I just said, whoever, that director of Gasland in 2010, so some asshole who made a movie 10 years ago, was on Nomiki Konst's show, said some shit, and Nomiki Konst is trying to, I guess that's their friend, so she's trying to say, that it's, relevant, and here Katie Halper is like, no, this is all bullshit. This is all, what the fuck we even talking about this? And if you listen to her question, it took forever for her to ask the question, right? And then when she had, said something like, Katie Halper is not a Russian operative, but, but what could be a but after that? Look, I'm sure you're not a Russian spy bent on trying to destroy America, but it does seem peculiar that you drink a lot of vodka. What's up with the vodka drinking? Are you a Russian spy? Katie Halper, are you a Russian spy? And so apparently this has been a running joke over, at the Katie Halper show, and I've seen this a couple times, and they've been actually, really cool with it, but it's like fucked up that they're going to accuse, like just regular American citizens of being like fucking fucking Russian operatives. So that means for the Kremlin, right, for Putin. So Josh Fox floated a stupid idea, and Nomiki Konst is trying to talk about it, and Katie Halper has now got a Russian hat on her head, speaking her Russian talking points.
We speak. Vlad is very happy that you don't believe I'm Russian infiltrator. But he did not want me to say on TV that I was. Okay, sorry. So what's the question?
I understand. I get it, okay, Katie. But, we've been on RT before, there's no, it's paid for by the Russian government. So
like other, as you know, other channels are paid for by corporations.
Yes. We're smart on our channel. We can understand anyone.
What is it? Yeah.
Okay, but we're having a conversation about Russia. We're not having a conversation about the corporate media, which we do. 85% of our show is about the corporate media.
So what's your point about the Russia?
So his point is when he hears leftist hosts mimicking the same arguments almost instantaneously. This is what he said on the show.
Yeah,
the talking points of RT, right?
Yeah.
Talking points of RT. He asks why, and I have to say, out of all the conversations we could be having right now, I feel like Russiagate is not the one we should be talking about.
No, but this is an important thing. I mean, you asked the idea. There are a couple of really dangerous premises. One is the idea that if your talking points, and first of all, I don't have a talking point. What I did, and I defend, and I think it's actually pretty disgusting, if we're being honest, to not just call for a film to be censored, but to call for a film to be censored, and then say you didn't call for the film to be censored, which, to be clear, I know Josh.
Okay, so the definition of censorship is the government censoring. So I just want to put that out there because we use the term censoring very loosely.
Okay.
And he said it was not
wait, I have a question though. Do you consider like PEN America to be a good source of defining censorship?
Generally speaking, but they've also made false decisions.
Right, but they're an organization that exists, right? They are literally for
free speech tracker. Let's talk about free speech tracker.
Sure. Okay. So I just want to quote Penn. Penn, of course, is what poets and essayists and novelists, and they're a major free speech organization. And they described it thusly: calls to pull a film because of disagreement with its content are calls for censorship, plain and simple. Those who take issue with the film have every right to make their concerns and arguments heard, but first and foremost, the public also has the essential right to view Moore's film and make their own judgments. And, okay, fine. The point is this: if Josh and you want to define censorship as only when the government...
You're not defining it. I am defining it on the show as the classic definition, the journalistic definition, in journalism school.
I mean, there are so many people who use censorship. Okay, let's say I'll concede that point. I disagree with that because, as we know, PEN America, which is one of the biggest anti-censorship
yes, but they've had problematic cases before, so we have to make that
No one has ever given it. Has anyone ever pushed back on PEN for not having a good definition of censorship?
Yes.
Where? Tell me.
Well,
where's the example?
All right, I'll get you an example in a second. I will look.
All right, get me an example.
Well,
let me finish. I want to start my first point. I didn't bring
you on to talk about censorship. I brought you on to talk about Russiagate because I don't understand.
Oh wait, but they're related. Hold on, please. These are totally related, and they're related because there's censorship and then there's effective censorship or suggested censorship in the form of smearing. And here's what's very dangerous about the first thing you said: that my talking points line up with RT's talking points. Do you realize? You know this because you were a Bernie person.
He said that.
And this is something infuriating that people say. People would say, Bernie Sanders, he's against the TPP, so is Donald Trump. It's an absurd argument. You yourself defended Ro Khanna the other day because he went on Fox and made an anti-war argument that isolationists make without being anti-war. Okay? So that is a very ridiculous thing. There's literally, there's no evidence whatsoever that you're saying something that other people say. No.
That's a very. He said, because you didn't want to debate him, okay? I wanted you guys to debate. So what I'm going to do is
I didn't want to debate him because he lied. He accused me of being a Russian infiltrator. And Nomi, you should have asked him as a journalist. You should have asked him why he said there was no attempt to. No, you asked him why there was no attempt to take. He said there was no attempt to take down the film, which he did say.
He did answer that at the end. I didn't ask you. Wait, okay, Katie, hang on a second. You're all over the place. Katie, you're up.
No, me.
Katie, I'm trying to talk about.
I was being nice because I thought that you felt like fine, go. I
want to get into the. No, I'm not. There's no.
Okay, what's the Russiagate question you have?
Katie, I'm trying to get into the nuance here, and both Josh and you refuse to get into nuance here, and you start talking about censorship and this.
I'm sorry. This is not an accurate representation of what happened. If you want to say that you would like me to be more nuanced, and sure, tell me what you want to talk about. Fine. Wait, but excuse me. I did not. No, this is a false equivalent. I did not appear anywhere and call Josh. You say both you and Josh. As if we're both, these guys are crazy. There's just a clear difference. He went on your show, and I wasn't mad at you because I was sympathetic, because I've had people on my show who I'm friends with, and it's awkward to push back on. But this whole, you guys, can't you work it out? Why can't you debate each other?
That's not what I'm saying at all.
One of them, all right, so what's your Russiagate question?
I think you should debate. You did a 25-minute segment afterwards, and I was like, it would have been way more interesting if you debated him rather than his clip. I don't know. I just found it.
Wait. Oh, so you're upset that I made a comedic video of this, which you should link to?
No,
but
didn't say that. Katie, hang on. Just let me ask a question, okay? Hang on. I know this is tense. I know that you've been accused of this law. So what I'm trying to get into is the weeds about how this is not.
Okay, sure. What are the weeds? Yeah.
So if you let me ask the question. What I'm trying to get to here is, so his concern is that when RT says something, and this is not the same as Bernie, and I was a surrogate, I'm very familiar with it.
No, I was making an analogy.
So his concern is when RT puts out a segment, and then Max Blumenthal pushes something out on the same exact language. That was his concern. These are Josh's words, okay? Because you couldn't have a debate with Josh.
Yeah, but you should either, if you're asking me about that, you should have the exact words. Or ask Josh what they are.
Katie.
Know me.
I'm trying to ask a question, okay?
No, so, you just said you were
quoting. All right, wrap up the interview. If I can't do that. Ask a question, Katie. I'm wrapping up the interview. This is ridiculous. I'm trying to actually get into there's a real debate on the left about this, and I want the left to debate.
Yeah, but if you're saying Josh Fox made points and you're not presenting those points, The exact same language. What was the
Katie,
exact
I
same
can't even get the
language
question
that Max
out. You're not letting me get the question
I
out.
just tried to. I asked you a simple question. What's the language?
Katie, are you the host or
that-
my host? I am trying to get into the news.
No,
I'm
me.
trying to help you. Your
Okay.
argument was not clear, so I'm trying to help you get to that argument.
Okay, so I'm asking you because your argument. Wait, this is very simple. Can you tell me what Josh said the exact same language was?
This is very simple, Katie. I have a question I'm trying to ask you, and you're not letting me ask it. Okay? I am trying to help you because there are people on the left right now who are literally like, why is Katie Halper aligning with Jimmy Dore and RT? When I know that's not who you are. And so what I'm trying to specifically say, I have 12 questions here.
Is this live, by the way?
Of course it is.
Oh, okay.
This is a live show.
Cut the segment. All right.
Because I have another interview in 2 minutes.
All right. So
We're an hour-long show a day.
All right. I think that's the question, though. Is I want to know what the same language is. That's not an absurd thing.
I didn't even let me ask the question before you push back. His assumption.
Right.
His assumption. You watched the interview. His assumption is, and this is a live show, right? His assumption is that your talking points mimic Jimmy Dore's, and they all come out at the same time. And my question is, and this is just my first question because I have 20 more questions, 12 questions I want to ask you. My question is, okay, fine. What I'm very curious about is, all right, if you're not aligned with all of these people, and that's fine, why, Katie, you're a good host, when we're in the midst of 5 days before the election, right? Suddenly, the talking points are coming back about oil and gas, and this is actually true because
where's the question?
The oil and gas industry, right, started pushing out talking points against the oil and gas industry against Putin and the Russiagate started popping up 5 days before. See, I'm already off topic now. 5 days before the election. Certain conversation topics were popping up 5 days before the election. And my question is, why was Russiagate? Why was this popping up right before the election? And why was why was the film conversation? Why was the article from Max Blumenthal popped up right before the election when it came out, the segments on Josh Fox and the movie and Michael Moore popped up 5 days before the election when it came out months before? And so, like, when the whole world was talking about the actual election, suddenly this was the most important thing for leftist hosts to bring up. And I'm not saying that was your intention, but like...
No, it's not my intention. I wasn't played by the Russians. You're all played. Like, you were played by Josh Fox. You don't even have alleged talking points. I cannot believe this narrative that you're accepting, that it's the onus is on me to prove that you know what? Here's the irony. We had Michael Moore on the show. You know why? We'd had him on before on Useful Ideas. Yeah. But we really wanted to have him on because we thought it was so ridiculous that Josh Fox attempted to, according to Penn, good source on this stuff, censor the film. So that's one issue. But I didn't think we would. I honestly thought you would be like laughing at the Russiagate claim.
I am trying.
I don't even understand.
Back at me. Hey, I was trying to be helpful to you. And what I was, my initial presentation, you're rolling your eyes at me, Katie, but you've been on Fox News before, and you've treated Fox News hosts nicer than you have me.
Well, that's not true. I've talked down to them about lots of stuff. I'm not talking down to you. I'm friends with you, so I expect it to go differently.
It was supposed to, but you wouldn't let me ask the first question. And my first question is literally just quoting Josh. My question, this is Josh's theory, not my theory. Josh's theory. And because you didn't want to debate him, and by the way, he told me, try to get on Useful Ideas to give his perspective, and you declined it.
Oh, so well, he didn't ask me. So I've known him for years. Well, I don't know why he didn't ask me. That's weird. Well, will you have Max Blumenthal on, by the way?
I'd be happy to have Max Blumenthal on.
That's what you should have. But
I have no problem with this. But my whole perspective is, I wanted to get into it, and Josh wanted to debate you, and it would have been so much easier if I just let you guys, ask you guys specific questions.
Well, it would have had to have.
But I can't ask you, and so I'm trying to get to through the weeds, and it's just not happening on this segment because.
Just ask me the question then.
I have to wrap up the segment because I have two panelists waiting right now.
Okay, so you couldn't quote Josh Fox. You couldn't actually prove the premise of your question. Sorry, I didn't think this would be combative either.
Well, Katie, you cut me off on my first question. You started going
I've given you. I asked you very clearly. I said, "What is
Josh Fox?" I gotta wrap it up.
I'm repeating.
You lost the segment.
Yeah.
Talking points, and I just said 5
Tell me the thing that
you popped up the Max Blumenthal article from
infiltration. Literally, that was his proof. He said they're infiltrators. Again, you know what? Black Lives Matters. Was that also?
I'm not debating. Wait, Katie, I'm not siding with him. I don't agree with him. I don't agree. Oh my God, Katie.
Would you repeat that argument? That's
guys, I gotta go. We have guests in the waiting room. We have guests in the waiting room. Bye.
Bye. Alrighty.
All right, guys. No, bring me back on. I want to go back on.
So this is where we had begun. And she's still on and she wants to talk about what just happened, right? She wants to gaslight everybody. Look, I tried to ask you questions, she wouldn't answer. You saw how she was. And the way I saw the damn thing, and maybe I'm biased because I am on, force the vote. I'm on the side of force the vote, which means I'm on the side of Katie Halper. Katie seemed cool, calm, collected, just kind of like, she did that funny impersonation, and it was, Nomiki Konst, who was, just monopolizing, just kept on, doing a monologue before she never got to the question. So I feel like something that annoys the shit out of me, I've heard lots of people do it, Chris Wallace. I'm the host, I'm the one asking the questions around here. If you're the, goddamn head investigator of the, state police, okay, you're the one that asked the questions. But to monopolize only, you're the one that can, inquire into the other person, what they think and believe, that other person can't inquire into you and what no, you need a fair conversation. So I feel like just talk, right? Just talk. So Nomiki Konst is the host, and she was trying to go one direction, but if the conversation is going in a different direction, I feel like, you could keep on trying to force it going this way, but I feel like just go the way eventually, the host is the chair. The host leads the conversation, doesn't dictate it. Nomiki Konst dictated. I will just give them both credit because they tried. Nomiki Konst seems more thoughtful for some reason. She said some interesting comments, so I feel like she seems to be more thoughtful than some of the other haters. So Nomiki Konst might actually come around to the right conclusion. This was fantastic television. This was exciting, great broadcast. I think for, just document for history, whatever, it was just do it straight through. And then, come to your own conclusion. It was like, what the hell are they even talking about? They're just like fucking arguing about this shit. And then they're arguing about arguing, and then they're just not even saying nothing. So they're friends, hopefully, I don't know if they'll be friends. It seemed like, I don't know, I think they'll be friends later on. And Nomiki Konst will try to make the argument that she tried to ask the question, and then, Katie Halper was just calm, cool, collected, and I think that's what was pissing Nomiki Konst off, and she was trying to, sort of explain shit before she got to the shit, and then there's something about you should quote, Josh Fox, like either verbatim or have the clips ready because she was just paraphrasing, and she's like, well, that's not fair, and whatever, so yeah. I'm not sure what we learned there. I watched the whole thing. It was entertaining. Both beautiful women who are progressive and intelligent. I hope Katie Halper and Nomiki continue to have this conversation. I hope they continue to have this conversation. I hope this doesn't turn into Jimmy Dore, David Sirotto. They had one little spat, and now all of a sudden they're like fucking at war with one another. Hopefully the women can show us men how, you can have an argument, and that's not the end of the world. You could still, live on another planet with a person that disagreed with something you said. Anyways, there's Katie Halper versus Nomiki Konst. Peace!